Good morning. This is Dave Wallendorf from MakeRes, and today we're going to take a look at the five major types of reports that MakeRes can generate to help you understand your property's occupancy and revenue stream and where your folks are coming to you from and what's causing them to come. All with a notion of giving you the information to decide what the best way to market your property is. Do you have a shortfall in revenue? So is it important for you to maybe kick up your advertising a little bit? What's the occupancy look like versus last year? Are you doing well or are you not doing so well? Where are your people coming from? Perhaps you've got a relationship with both HomeAway and with the World by Owner, or with bedandbreakfast.com and B&B Online. And you'd like to assess how productive each of those choices are. Best way to do that I know of is keep track of the people that actually reserve at your property, where they came from, B&B Online or bedandbreakfast.com. And at the end of the day, you can see, well, how many people came to me from each source, how much does each advertising opportunity cost me, and make an assessment which one's more productive and perhaps which one should be dropped to take advantage of some new opportunities that advertisers seem to continually be throwing your way. The zip code map is a particular favorite, so that shows visually where all the folks that come to your property come from on a state-by-state or multi-state basis. Lets you zoom and pan and get a better understanding. And this might help you answer or pose the question, I'm getting a lot of folks from, say, Charleston, but not so many folks from Greenville. Does that make sense? Because, gee whiz, I'm a lot closer to Greenville. And then the last type of report talks about how long people are staying, the number of people that are staying in each suite in Riverdance's case, and what are the top 20 states surrounding us in North Carolina that are sending reservations our way, and again, hoping to let us focus on where we want to put our money in terms of marketing programs. So let's take a look at the first report. That's the projected revenue detail. It's what we look at the end of the month to get a best understanding of how much money has actually come in terms of cash flow. We'll go and indicate that we want to do this for the Riverdance Bed and Breakfast. And let's roll back to September, the month that has just completed, and we're going to go ahead and get the report. You see a little progress bar here. Now the report pops up, and there's a report, and we see some summary information. We've made about $5,600 in rent. There's a state tax due of $421. $650 going toward cleaning. We had 45 nights out of probably 60 nights rented, so we probably had an occupancy rate of maybe 75%. And we had 19 different guest parties coming into the bed and breakfast over that time frame. We take a look then at a little bit more detail if we want to. We could export all this information to a comma-separated file. You might want to do that to import that comma-separated file into something like Quicken or other financial software where we can slice and dice and record the information in a more permanent fashion that you might want to use for tax reports or end-of-the-year reports for a variety of purposes. So let's go off and get rid of that. So this again is the projected revenue report. We can do it on a month-by-month basis. So if I want to do October's, I'll simply click over to October. The report gets erased because it's no longer valid because it's September's report. I'll get the report again, and this again is October's. And yeah, we got a little bit more revenue coming in October because it's leaf season here in Western North Carolina. Our occupancy numbers seem to be a little bit better, and the number of guests seem to be a little bit better. So it kind of meets our idea of over the years how Riverdance should be performing during the leaf season. Now, if I roll back up, taking a look at the other types of reports, I've got the occupancy revenue summary. Two different reports there. Again, I'm going to say, hey, let's focus on Riverdance. And let's go ahead and look at the monthly occupancy report. And then I've got a time frame. So I can look back further into history if I want to. But let's compare 2014 to 2013. Got everything set up in terms of selecting the report I want. I'm going to get the report. Again, we've got a little progress bar going there. And here's the report itself. So for 2014, I've got 2 rooms that I'm interested in Riverdance. These are the various occupancies that I have in the rooms. So River Rock, April was 90%, October was 93%. For the year, it had a 77% occupancy. The Treetops room, not quite as popular, with a 68% for the year. When I combine the 2 rooms at Riverdance for 2014, I have a 72% occupancy. Now, there's a little caveat here. We're sitting in October, and there's a good chance that additional reservation requests will come in, and our occupancy rates for November and December will go up. So this is a low-end occupancy for us. If we make no more reservations, this is what it's going to look like for the year. We're hopeful that we'll probably end up 5 to 8 points higher for the yearly occupancy as we move forward. If I compare that against 2013, Riverdance, you can see month by month, 55% in 2014, 44% in 2013. So some months better, some months not quite so good. If we roll it up to the yearly occupancy, right now we're pretty much on par with what we did all last year. So things that we book in addition to what we've already got booked when we move through November and December will be growth from last year. So we're pretty excited about that. At the bottom of that screen is a visual rendering of the occupancy numbers, with the blue occupancy being 2014 numbers, the orangey occupancy being 2013 numbers, and I can see how that's laying out. Now, in the same vein, although I love occupancy, I love revenue a little bit more. So I'm going to go and do a monthly revenue report. Go ahead and get the report, got the progress going on. And now a little bit wider display. These are the numbers behind the occupancy. And I can see that I've made a little bit more money so far in 2013. I booked $65,000 in revenue in 2014. And again, there's some upside potential for November and December. Now I've got 3 rooms displayed, and that's because the master suite is actually a hidden room. We'll talk more about that when we go through the utility video training. It doesn't participate in the occupancy rollout because it would really skew that, but it does participate in the revenue roll-up. So not too much contribution from the master. We only do it in emergency situations because it essentially kicks us out of our room. And that's not the most fun in the world. So again, you see the visual comparison, blue being 2014, orange being 2013. A great way to get a snapshot of what your financials look like on a year-by-year basis comparing against last year. Third type of report is sources, occasion, and specials. Again, I'm going to come in and ask for Riverdance. And let's just take a look at sources right now. Sources are places that referrals come from. So might be TripAdvisor, might be bedandbreakfast.com, might be your local marketing organization for, in our case, Hot Springs, North Carolina. So I'm going to look at the sources, and I really want to take a look at just for the last year. So I'm going to come in and select January 1st, come to the end, select today's date, the 17th, and go ahead and get the report. So this is a little bit ginned up data, but hopefully it'll give you an idea that we've got returning customers that have been to Riverdance before, that are coming back. best way to attract customers is to get them to come back again and again and again. Leads just came in from the internet. Often customers, when you ask them, how did you find us, will just say, I was searching on the internet, and they don't have a whole lot of more information than that. With the sources, you can dig down a little bit, but you don't want to get too pushy. So HomeAway provides a certain number, and you can see the various sources. French Broad is a rafting company we work with. Mobile is people coming in from the mobile version of the website. So this can again be used to see how productive various marketing campaigns might be. So you might say, hey, I'm going to take advantage of that premium platinum offer on bed and breakfast online, and you can take a look at the time frame before you took advantage of that platinum offer. Take a look at the time frame, say 6 months after you took advantage of it, and hopefully you'll see a dramatic uptick in the count of guests that are coming and booking with you from B&B online. The occasions, they're more on the order of weddings and anniversaries, things that might draw family reunions, people into you. Kind of gives you again an idea of what areas that you might want to focus on and how successful you are in your focus on those areas. And last but not least are specials. Specials might be an off-season break during the midweek, or a trout fishing special to connect them with a trout guide, or perhaps a gourmet dining special. So that helps you understand what specials might resonate with your guests, and which ones to repeat and which ones maybe to put aside and looking for something else that maybe does a little bit better job for you. The next one we're going to look at is the zip code map. Zip code map basically goes off and paints. If I choose Riverdance again, set the initial zoom to state, come in and say, hey, I'm interested in people that are arriving between January 1st. So click over to January 1st, and then today, and I go ahead and get the zip code map. Here we can see a painting of the states in the southeastern United States. We're located near Asheville, and you've got either singleton people that have come if in a fairly rural area, but we can see that 42 groups of people during 2014 to date have come from the Asheville area. 19 have come from the Greenville, South Carolina area. 23 have come from the Charlotte area. And 26 have come from the Raleigh area. And if I go down a little bit and pan up, I can see that only 4 have come from Charleston. So I can now, if I want to, use the controls to maybe zoom in, and you can see that in Greenville things start to resolve a little bit better, and you get a little bit more focus as to where in the Greenville area people are coming from. And if I zoom out, I can get more information on perhaps a state-by-state basis. So you've got 16 people coming from the Atlanta area. You've got somebody coming from, looks maybe like Charlottesville, Virginia. So again, you're getting a better idea of where people are coming from, and that can give you a better idea of where you should focus your marketing resources. Last but not least is what we call the length of stay table and report. Again, we're looking at Riverdance, and I'm going to take a look at the length of stay. And this time I'm going to let it go through the entire database. So I'm going to go off and get that report. And we can see that for our guests, the predominant number of days to stay are 2 days. We do allow 1-day stays at Riverdance. And you can see how things lay out, the average stay being 2.22 days. And here you might be asking the question, what can I do to get guests to stay longer? And so you might put some specials and programs together. that you think are going to encourage people to stay longer, but in the 6 months you take before you implement those specials and the 6 months after, then you can take a look and say, hey, my average number of length of stay has grown from, in this case, 2.2 days to maybe 2.5 days. So I'm making progress. In the same vein, we can take a look at the number of people that go into a room. That directly relates to revenue for us because we rent out multiple rooms in a suite, and we can see that 2 people is a dominant number of people in a suite, 4 people, 136 times, etc., etc. So that again gives us an idea of the number of people that we're putting into suites, and the higher the number of people, typically that means more revenue for us. Last but not least, again, the top 20 states. If I take a look at that, we can see that North Carolina gives us a dominant number of guests coming to Riverdance over the entire range of the database. Tennessee coming in second, and South Carolina coming in third with 113 groups. That's it for the overview of the report page. Stay tuned, and we'll next talk in a separate video about the utilities page.